Morning troops, another day, another drain. Bit of a coward today. I chose somewhere I knew it would be out of the wind. Get up the bank and it's blowing a gale. So yeah, we're all set up, we're all ready to go. It's Lincolnshire drain, free fishing. All you need is your Environment Agency rod licence. And today, like I spoke previously, I'm going to be fishing solely with single circle hook rigs. Yes, I've got 3 dead baits in the water. They're all mounted on a single circle hook, hair rig style. The big baits have a size 4 circle hook and the smaller baits have a size 6 circle hook. And that's all I'm going to be fishing with today, circle hooks. You know, if I'm struggling I might get out a little rod and bring one of the rods in and have a little thrash about, see if there's anything there. Or on this drain I might even take one of the rods in and put a little perch rig out, because you know, some big perch in here. So, but we'll see. But as really, I just want to concentrate on them circle hooks, give them a good go for the rest of the season. So yeah, we were, you know, I was up bright and early. It's, you know, it's light already. It's really, you know, it's really good. You know, it's mornings are getting lighter, the afternoons are getting lighter. Gives you a little bit more time on the bank, a little bit more time in the doghouse, if you're like me. So without further ado, let's go and have a look at this drain and I'll show you the swim. Look at that sky. Yeah, so this is a swim. So I've got 3 rods set up. Left hand rod is out just off them dying down reeds there. Just off them, about 2-3 foot of water. It's not really low winter level low, but it is pretty close. You're going to have to be careful putting back any fish. So I've got the option of coming in tight to this bank of reeds. Not too tight obviously, because I've mentioned how shallow it is. Middle rod, there's my float, just over mid channel. Again, that's in about 3 foot of water, whole sardine. And on the right hand rod, again mid channel, 20-30 metres downstream from me. So they're my first quick spots. You know, I just like to get my baits out quick. As I say, it's a Lincolnshire drain, free fishing. You can still hear the wind hitting the bobbins. It's gusting a bit still, even down here in the sheltered lee. But you know, it's looks a good day. I say I'm concentrating on circle hooks. I'm not expecting anything huge out of this drain. Those days are long gone. You know, it's been hammered. Don't need to tell you who by, but it has been hammered over the last few decades. You can come up here any night of the week and you'll catch them at it. So mid doubles at best. So like with any venue, you just got to fish for what's there. So you know, if I have a couple of mid doubles, it means I've done well and I've had a good day. So that's what I'm going to be going for. But you never know, it does once a season, once every other season. It does throw up a 20, but not very often. Let's get cracking. Got a little bit of action on that float. Oh, it's come off. Getting runs everywhere. Looks like it's another jack though. Right troops, first one of the day. Look at the marks on the side of its flank. Spawning, rubbing itself up against a big female. Quite a lot of marks there. That's a better side. Oh, he's better side. 5 or 6 pounds. 5 or 6 pounds, that's all. So we've had 5 runs, only 1 converted. But I don't think that's the circle hook rig's fault. I think it's the size of the fish. I've had jacks on, and they have been jacks. I've just been holding on to the bait. That's the first pike big enough to actually take the whole bait, and it was hooked again in the scissor. Look at the markings. They're all very pale fish here. So let's get him back. Well, alright troops, we're an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours into the session. I've had 6 runs. In chaos. So what I've done is, with a gusting wind, I'll show you in a minute, with a gusting wind and the flow of the drain, the static beds on the ledger, the presentation wasn't right. So with the bite presentation wasn't right. I had no issues with the presentation in the water, the fish themselves, but you know, you couldn't, you know, even if you had the tips in the water, the debris coming down, unseen debris, you can't see it, but, you know, it's just taking your bobbins up all the time, you know, so you know, it was a bit pointless really. You know, I was up and down like a yo-yo, false indications, and then you worry you're going to miss something, you know, you get false indication. And then so what I've done is my centre rod, which is my float rig, was brilliant. There's no issues with that at all. The gusting wind doesn't affect it at all. So like I always say, you know, I like to repeat myself, you know, you've got to be fluid with your plans, and today it was obvious that the static deads on a ledger weren't going to work. You know, I probably would have still caught fish. I've had runs on them, missed them, I've had runs on them. So I thought, no, yeah, got to be proactive. There's no point fishing if you're not going to get a proper indication. So now all 3 rods are float fish, dead baits, and I'm really happy with the indication. So while I was setting up one of the rods, oh, the run I got, you know, you would have thought you had a carp or a barbel on it. You can see it, because I was in the middle of timing. I was in the middle of timing with stop knot for my second rig, and I looked round and the tip of the rod was bent round. Oh, here we go again, another jack. You know, the bait had teeth marks all over it, but obviously they're not swallowing. There's little jacks out there, they're not swallowing the bait, they're picking it up and running with it. So it doesn't matter whether you've got circle hooks or trebles, if you know, they're just grabbing the bait in the centre and running off with it like lunatics. You know, you're not going to really hook them. So, you know, they hold on for dear life and then they just let go. But that's, I've got all 3 rods set up now. I'm not happy, believe it or not, I'm still not happy with my right hand rod. I'm not happy with the float I chose, so I'll probably change that. But other than that, it's, you know, it's perfect. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to catch. He says. Right, let's show you what this wind is doing. Got a lot of cloud in the sky now. It's, look at it, bright as anything. The water's a little bit clear. I can see. Or is it? You know, it could be my imagination. It might be just so shallow in the edge that I can see the bottom. But it's not gin clear. It's still got a bit of tinge to it. It always has a bit of tinge to it up here. And you see it on the water, the direction of the wind is going everywhere. And that was causing all sorts of headache for the line layer with the static deads. So I've got 3 float rigs out. What I shall do is I shall move them around every 20 minutes, half hour, searching out fish. I don't know what the audio quality is going to be like on this video until I get home and do the editing, but I mean, it really is blowing a gale. I've got the external mic on, so I do apologise if you can't hear me, but you know, it's storm season by the looks of it, isn't it? And you can see there, it doesn't do it justice. There's a little section here that's exposed, and the wind is ripping through there. Here it's not too bad, so plenty of gusts, but let's have a look. It's hard to, there you go, there's float number 1, no problem seeing that, plus I've got the alarm to go with it. Can't see float number 2. It's there, I can see it, but I can't find it on the camera. Oh, there we go. Float number 2. And there's float number 3. So they're all visible. Maybe not so much on the camera, but they're all visible to the eye. The sun's poking up over the far bank now, so it's going to get quite bright. And I remember my sunglasses, so. There's plenty of cloud that way. And then you can hear that wind howling above my head. And luckily enough, it's going straight over the top of me. Second one of the day, again with a circle hook, again in the scissors, unhooked by hand. Only small, but I wasn't really expecting that much up here really size wise, but get sport with it. And so there really are pale fish up here, but let's get him back. Took a whole herring. Well, the drain was running off quite hard this morning. You couldn't really tell because of the wind and the gusting. If you have a look over there at the far bank, you can see where the watermark was this morning. I reckon that's dropped a good 6 to 10 inches in a matter of 2 hours, so they've run it off quite a lot. Didn't seem to affect the jacks. They were going potty this morning. So we've had 7 runs, landed 2. The 2 we landed weren't. So in the 6th, you know, £5 to £7 bracket, but the ones we lost were smaller. They were only holding on to the bait. So look at how clear that water is. You can see how shallow it is. They've dropped it right down. Hopefully they've stopped running it off. I don't want it any more shallow than this. It's about the midday mark. I haven't had a run for over an hour. The wind's gusting, it's still very bright, maybe that's the problem, but or maybe I was just lucky at falling on a load of fish first thing in the morning and I've spooked them all now and they're gone. But so far we've had 7 runs. We've had 2 fish on the bank. Nothing big, and so the conversion rate's not great today. I mean, it's 30%, and I think I've got a bite. Well, there's me moaning about not having a run for an hour, and wallop. Another jack, didn't land it. Once again, same problem. I'm using quite big baits, 6 to 7 inches long. And they're just picking them up. They're too big for the fish to handle, and they're just picking them up, running with them. And of course, circle hooks, you can't really strike, you have to wind down into the fish, and if the hook's not in the fish's mouth, you're winding down into nothing. So I've got a Hobson's choice really. I'll leave the big baits on and hope there's some big girls around, you know, at least some doubles somewhere, or I'll scale down one of the rods and fish with a tiny bit of fish and a small hair, and that way I'll nail the jack every time. But I don't know. I mean, it was unbelievable run. I mean, it took it wallop and it was gone. I mean, it was going. But they're not actually swallowing the whole fish. So the way I set up my circle rig hooks is the hook obviously is clear, but it's at the base of the tail. That way, any pike, when they pick up a bait, they'll pick it up, they'll turn it round and they'll swallow it head first. That way I'm avoiding any deep hooking issues, and if that bait is going down head first, then once the bait is in a big pike's mouth, or even a decent pike's mouth, once you wind down into it, you're going to hook the fish every time. The snag comes with small fish, so my advice is if you're using circle hooks and you're getting plagued by small fish, jacks, and you want the sport and you want to catch them, you want to get them on the bank, I would go with a smaller hook or a smaller hair and a tiny bit of fish, like a fish head. Cut a fish head off and put that on, or something like that. That way the chances are you're going to hit the fish every time. So I might do that. I might actually change one of the, tie myself up a new single hook rig for jacks and see how we go. But you never can tell which rod the jack's going to take. That's the problem. I've got 3 rods. I've had jacks and all of them plaguing me, except the left-hand rod. The left-hand rod has not had a touch on it, which is strange really, because as I say, that run there I just missed was my 8th run in 4 hours, and they've all been on the middle rod or the right-hand rod. The left-hand rod, not a touch, not even a squeak. The only time I've got any indication from there was when I was static leisuring with the leisure boon, and a bank of weed floated down and caught the line. It's not, since I've switched over to the float, even before that with the leisure, not a single run on it. So here we go again. Try another. Obviously now I've repositioned the middle rod. Got fresh sardine on there. Let's hope we can catch something. Well, afternoon troops. Decided to ring the changes for the afternoon. I was charging up my phone, so I still had my head camera, but I was charging up my phone, and 2 more runs. Both on the right hand rod, both on whole herring, both you know it, you guessed it before I even said it. Both not converted. Bait stolen. That right hand rod has gone through a whole packet of herring. 6 of them, all about 8 inches long. I've got no herrings left, so I thought I've got to have a change around. So on my right hand rod now I've got a Joey mackerel, which I had on the left hand rod and I hadn't had a touch, but I don't know whether that was the bait or whether that was the positioning of the rod, because there doesn't seem to be anything down upstream from me. I haven't had a touch upstream. It all seems to be the centre of the swim or downstream. So your right hand rod facing downstream, I've got a whole Joey mackerel. Centre rod, I've still got my whole sardine. That's had both my fish caught on that, and obviously I've had a few runs on it as well. So we'll keep persevering with the sardines. And on the left hand rod, I've decided to go with a smaller bait. I've put a little perch on, only about 2.5–3 inches long. And we'll see what happens there, whether the jacks pick up a smaller bait and wolf it down so I can get a hook into their mouth. I don't know, but there seems to be a lot of jacks around, greedy jacks and all, taking those big baits. I mean, as I say, my herrings were like 6 to 8 inches long, and they're picking them up and really running with them at speed as well. So that's what I'm hoping. So I've had a little change around. So I've got a smaller bait on one of the rods, we'll see if that produces. I don't know what it does like up here on coarse bait, so you know, little small roach, I've had pike out of here up to 20 pounds on small roach, but so we'll see. I'll have that little small perch on for a while, and if that doesn't produce I'll change it, put a little small roach on, and we'll keep ringing the changes, keep trying the distances, trying the angles, reposition the rods every half an hour. As for the conversion rate, 2 fish on the bank for 11 runs, you're going to say, well, that's not good. Is that down to the circle hooks, or is that down to the fact that the baits are too big for the fish that are out there? I think it's the latter. I think it's jacks picking up the bait and running with it, but you know, could be wrong. That's why we've got to try. That's why you've always got to ring the changes. You've got to try different things, try different options. If one tactic's not working, try another one. But I'm going to stick with the circle hooks. That's the whole point of the exercise, really. You know, I want to see how they perform over time in all different conditions. So we've adjusted the size of the bait on one of the rods, and we'll see if we can catch something. We've got a nice afternoon. Doesn't start till at least 5, so got a good few hours. Afternoon troops. Last couple of hours of the session I've decided to have a quick move. Moved about 100 metres downstream. So it's just saw this swim, I thought why not give it a go. Played with jacks up there. Had 13 runs up there and only landed 2 fish. They're all jacks and they're all taking the big bait. They've ignored the little bait I've had on, so I might get rid of that perch and put a small seed head on. I think we're taking seed heads rather than dead. Yeah, so I've moved swim. It's a lot closer to the water, then got that little drop, so anything decent I can return really safely, you know, in the sling or by hand. Walk back to the water's edge. I'm running to the swim with you now. Yeah, so we've got the last 2 hours. It's blowing a gale, but worked up a sweat, but you know, I fancied it, so I say you've got to ring the changes, you've got to be fluid. I looked at this swim and it looks alright, so I'll run through the swim with you. That's the left hand rod, and I've just had a little bit of interest in that, so on there is a whole sardine. Oh, there it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Five minutes in a new swim. Doesn't feel big. There's another jack. Yeah, another jack. But they all can, so the man hasn't. Oh, my little jack net's over there, so. There he comes. There she is, another little baby. And there he goes. Final throw of the dice time, troops. Less than an hour. Light left, just had a change around with the rods. The left hand rod I've put a small roach. Centre rod, whole sardine. Right hand rod, whole mackerel. Moved them about, put them at different angles, different distances away. We had the initial hit, bang, you know, straight away as soon as we got here. As you do quite a lot in new swims, fresh swims, but you know, I was hoping to get a bit more, but straight away, bang, another jack. So, I mean, there's lots of jacks here. I mean, it's the optimistic way of looking at it, or the pessimistic way of looking at it. The pessimistic way is there's no big girls in here at all to eat them, so you know there's an abundance of jacks. The positive way of thinking is where there's a load of jacks there should be a big gill. I mean, I probably think it's the former. You know, this gets hammered by unscrupulous people, and it's you know, they're just not here. It goes in cycles here, you know. At the moment there's nothing around big double wise. You know, up on this venue normally in the winter I'd expect to catch 2 or 3 mid to high doubles a session. You know, they're not here, and that's, you know, I'm not going back decades, I'm only going back 3 or 4 years, so, but they're not here, so it doesn't look like they're here anyway. But you never know. I mean, you've got to be optimistic, haven't you? You know what I mean? I'm hoping I'll get another fish. I keep looking up because there's a sparrow hawk up on the telegraph poles behind the camera, having a little beady look at me, wondering what I'm up to. So, as I say, we've had to move around. Let's hope we catch something. If it's not to be, and this is the last on-camera musings, thanks very much for watching. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, you'll know when there's a new video out. But once again, thanks very much for watching. I'm not the only one out, hoping the low light levels produce something. Look at that. Patiently hovering, waiting for poor Mr. Mouse. And there he goes.